Welcome back to Inside the Helmets, another incredible Wednesday evening, and so we're bringing you another episode. My name is Michael. My dad is here as well.
Yeah, an incredible Wednesday and another incredible episode.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we have to start the episode off on a somber note because unfortunately I did not get drafted.
Yeah, me either. I'm still waiting. Um, After all these years, I'm like, look, you can take me in the last round. I'm good with it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll
Maybe they should
sign.
have a coach draft. I'm sure some teams are in the market for a new head coach. Maybe the
Ah,
Patriots want one who isn't so hell bent on bringing controversy.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
we're not getting into that.
No, I
No.
mean, it's funny that he kind of followed in the footsteps of Belichick when it comes to that.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
A
I
little
think
bit.
Belichick had kind of similar stories around him at one point, but
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm still disappointed I didn't win the Heisman Trophy in 1988. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Tim Brown, who wound up playing for the
Mm.
Raiders, won at Notre Dame in college, and Raiders, and you know,
Who knows? Maybe he'll watch this. Maybe he'll mail it to you and let you hold it for a week
yeah, maybe so. That'd be
and
really
send it
cool.
back.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be cool.
Anyway,
All right.
so we were talking before the show, and thought a good topic to bring up for those of you who may be new to the show. One thing that we like to touch on pretty early on in each episode is we both played football and have been around the game of football in more of a way than just being a fan in the stands or watching on TV. And so we feel like we have a bit of a deeper understanding of the game of football that we'd like to kind of give some insight to those who maybe have never put on a helmet or held a clipboard or anything like that. And so, the topic that you actually brought up was kind of some things that football players, as they grow up and play through the different levels, have to deal with mentally. And
Yeah,
so, I'll let you kick off.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
mental game, and you're right. You and I have been
Mm-hmm.
on countless sidelines in different capacities over the years. The I think the first thing, since I do coach youth football
Mm-hmm.
now, that I find that many of my players come to on the team, and we have to get them mentally over, and that's just the idea of hitting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I get players all the time who've never in their life put on helmet and shoulder pads, and even whether they're big, little, or somewhere in between, many times they've been told by their parents, understandably, as young boys, hey, don't be aggressive, don't hit your little brother, don't, and there's they don't understand yet when you put those pads on. There's a lot of protection, there's a lot of technology in that, and yes, when you clack your pads and hit somebody, or even if you get hit in the helmet, it doesn't hurt. um,
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, the things that hurt are, when your unprotected parts of the body hit the ground. But we try to, on the teams I coach, get them out of that early and mentally, and somewhere, some of them, it doesn't take long at all, and others you're halfway through the season and they're still timid. uh, but I've seen it transition in one hit, where they take a really hard hit and they pop up and they go, oh, that actually didn't hurt, and they're never the same after that.
Yep.
And just trying to kind of get them over that hurdle, because it feels weird. And also, one of the things that I have them do, just so they have a visual in their head, I say, I want you to hold out your left hand, right out in front of you. Now I want you to take your right hand and I want you to smack your left hand as hard as you can. Then tell me which hand hurts. And the answer, of course, is the hand that was standing still,
Mm-hmm.
right? It hurts more to get hit than it does to deliver a hit.
Yep.
And so I try to tell them that, look, and then if you take both hands and clap them together hard, it's an equal pain, but it's not too bad.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, some guys pick up on it early, and some guys it takes a while. And I've had guys who, in the time they're with me, they never get over it. So that's an early mental hurdle.
Hmm.
Um, I know as a quarterback, we've talked before about some of the mental hurdles that you have to get over. So why don't you talk about one?
Sure. So, as somebody who's been playing quarterback for most of my life, I started playing in the elementary school on, teams that you coached.
Yeah,
And when you're at that young age, in elementary school playing youth football or then getting into play middle school football, you're kind of robotic, or at least that is my experience. Is you're maybe 10 years old, 12 years old. You don't understand how to read defense and all that. And so you're mostly just kind of listening to what your coach says. The plays are pretty simple. Usually you're like, okay, you're either going to throw it to this guy or to this guy, and you're going to watch this specific defender. Very, very simple reads.
right.
But then when you hit high school, things kind of begin to shift. Especially if you start getting introduced into playing varsity level, you're now expected to be able to come up with solutions and read the defense and understand what they're doing and what will be open, what will be available to you all on your own. You're not going to have your coach standing 5 yards behind you telling you when to throw it and
Like,
who to throw it to. I've gone back and
yep,
watched because you would post on Facebook all our youth football highlights.
of course.
I remembered. Well, I had forgotten, but yeah, you would stand right like 5 yards behind me and all that because you would be on the field to call the plays with your playbook, and I would hear you in the video going now, now. And of course,
Yeah,
I was like 9, so I was still late, but it would still get there.
yeah. I
So,
mean, even at 9, you still had the best arm on the field.
mhm,
Um, some things are just gifts, but um, yeah, I think another one, since you talk about being quarterback,
mhm,
I can talk about playing as a wide receiver. And maybe not everybody in the stands knows this, but there's what we call a route tree that every wide receiver learns, and each route has a number. And believe it or not, there's like 10 different routes that you can run, basic routes. I mean, I'm
mhm.
sure teams have modifications of them, but
Oh yeah.
everything from the little short curl turn ins and outs and posts and deep balls and all that kind of stuff. And most of them, you can focus just on your footwork and trying to get open and everything else. I'll run, well, not now, but back then I would run go routes all day long, which is just sprinting up the field. And I'm not the slightest bit worried because when the quarterback throws it, there's only a limited number of things that are going to happen. He is going to overthrow me, underthrow me, or the ball will be on target. I'll either catch it or I'll drop it. Hopefully, catch more than I drop.
Mhm.
But I'm not worried about getting hit because the only person close enough to hit me and tackle me, and if I did my job right, he should be 2 steps behind, is a cornerback who's my size or smaller. So
Mhm.
I'm not really worried about taking a big hit. Same thing, anything where I'm doing an out route or a comeback over on the sidelines. The deep post, which again, we try to talk to people who maybe don't know all the terminology, is maybe 7 or 8 steps and then cut diagonally toward the middle of the field. If you catch that ball, you might get two safeties colliding. We see that all the time, and receivers sometimes get wobbly, get shaken up on that because you got two guys converging from either side. But the mental part that we're focusing on is going over the middle short at 5 to 7 yards, because in that, it's called a skinny post. And Michael Irvin used to talk about that. Um, because that's where the linebackers live. And the linebackers typically are going to be, at least at high school, college, definitely in pros, uh, they're going to be significantly more muscular. bigger dudes. They are aggressive. Yeah, exactly. Um, you might have a safety coming down as well. Safeties and wide receivers tend to be roughly the same size. But those linebackers are big, muscular, aggressive dudes. And
Yep.
getting a ball, especially, oh man, if a quarterback throws it high and you have to reach up and go get it, and now your ribs are exposed, and I don't care what kind of rib protector you have. If that linebacker smashes his shoulder into your ribs, you are going to feel it
Mm,
for Sundays and Sundays afterwards.
Yep.
And mentally, you kind of have to get over that. And Michael Irvin kind of has, I've heard him interviewed and talked about that, getting over that mental barrier that you don't develop what they call alligator arms and kind of keep your elbows in by your ribs and barely reach out. He talked about that when he got to the University of Miami, that he ran several of those routes and got popped pretty good. And he had to mentally just tell himself, well, look, you got two choices. Either you do this and take that hit and deal with the pain and the aftermath and say that catch and that first down was, because you're probably not scoring a touchdown on that play.
Mm,
Um, that first down was worth the pain I'm going to have to deal with, because I don't want to go back to, I think he was from Fort Lauderdale. I don't want to go back to Fort Lauderdale.
mm.
And so you have to mentally make that choice. And honestly, it is tough. I've done it. Uh, and I've seen guys overcome it and guys who couldn't overcome it. And anyway, that's definitely a mental thing for a wide
I
receiver.
think you're kind of softening up the quote. The quote is, "You either run that slant or we run back to the ghetto."
Well, okay. I didn't remember it word for word, but essentially what he was saying is you have two choices: run the slant or go home.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, I've heard that quote or seen it somewhere posted recently, so it was in my mind even before the show. Before you said the quote exactly, I was like, I know what he's going to talk about.
well, that's because you and I have talked football since you were about up to my kneecap. So,
Mm-hmm.
of course, you know already what I'm going to say.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, give us another quarterback mental thing that you have to get over.
Sure. Well, of course, the quarterback is typically the captain or the leader of the team, guy that all the fans are looking to as kind of the face of the franchise. Not only that, not only is that true externally outside of the team, but it's also true inwardly. They're seen as, or at least they ordinarily should be on any typical functional organization. They're the leader. They're the source of inspiration, especially on the offensive side of the ball. But even defensive guys will tend to look to the quarterback for motivation, for drive, for hope. When all hope seems lost.
Right.
And you think of a situation where maybe you're down by a score, maybe you're down 3 points late, and you have the opportunity with a minute and a half, 2 minutes left to go drive down and try and win the game. And that's on you as the quarterback. All the fans in the stands are looking at you. All your teammates on the sideline and in the huddle are looking to you
And
for belief.
doesn't that pressure start building though when the defense is still on the field and you're on the
Certainly.
sideline?
Certainly, yeah. Even before you take the field and then all the eyes suddenly go on you, yeah, you're certainly feeling it like, okay, yeah, I know what's about to happen if we get, if our defense gets the stop and we get the ball back and we're, given this opportunity to drive down and try and win the game. Yeah, you're definitely kind of psyching yourself up and preparing yourself for the pressure to be on you, and in a way that generates the pressure all internally before it's actually there, before the eyes are actually fully all on you. And that's excuse me, that's something that is incredibly difficult to get over at times. I remember my freshman year of college. You know,
I
I
thought
was
you were. I thought you were going to say freshman year of high school because I remember that game. Okay, go ahead.
well, honestly, that was so long ago. I don't even fully remember that.
I do.
I vaguely remember it. Anyway. Um, my freshman year of college, we had a JV team at the place I was at, just as an opportunity to get the younger guys some more reps in actual game like scenarios. And other teams in our conference also had JV teams, so it worked out. It was a good deal for us. And in our very first JV game, we had other young quarterbacks that were in my class as well. And so, um, it's not taken all that seriously. I mean, of course, you want to win the game, but I mean, the stakes aren't anything like what a varsity game would be, and so you kind of use it almost more like a scrimmage. Make sure everyone gets in, everyone gets reps, so you can get as many people exposed to that game like scenario and see who swims and who sinks.
Right.
And everyone, all the quarterbacks, there were like four of us. We had all gotten our chance to go in and play, and we were down. You were there. What was it like?
It's like 4 points or something.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know, 20-16, 22-18, whatever it was. We were down by a score, and it actually started to drizzle a little bit. It had been
Mhm.
clear skies all throughout the game, but then towards the end, it
And
started
by
to
the way,
drizzle.
you were the only quarterback who had thrown a touchdown.
Yeah, I had thrown two touchdowns. I think
That's what
by
I
that
remember.
point, I was the second quarterback to go in the game, only behind someone who was a sophomore.
Yeah.
Anyway, so everyone had their chance to go in, and I hadn't played since the second quarter. But suddenly now we're given this opportunity to try and go down and win, and they call my number. And
Right.
so I go in cold. Not literally, but you know what I mean. Like I hadn't warmed up, I hadn't been in the game, and now it's starting to rain a little bit. So
Yep.
suddenly that's among the worst situations I could imagine. I mean, I don't even think I was expecting to go back in. Because I knew the rotation. I knew that, like, okay, they're trying to get everyone reps. So, yeah, I felt that pressure immensely. But I mean, I went out there and I did the best I could. Now, it was kind of a lost cause because, we were throwing deep, trying to go down and win the game. The defense knew what we were doing. They saw it coming. And so I threw like a deep post, and they, um, they said that it was intercepted.
Yeah.
But
I was there and filming the game
mhm.
and
Yeah,
got to
it
watch it.
was a bad call.
Got to watch it in slow motion. It was close, but that ball hit the ground.
Ball hit the ground.
And but even still,
Hmm.
just let's be fair. They were playing everybody deep, and there
Hmm.
wasn't much time to
Yeah.
even hit the sidelines and try to get 10 yards at a time up the field. They just knew that you had a big arm and you were the
I,
hot quarterback in that game.
I think I had gotten sacked on the play before or something like that, or on that
Maybe,
drive.
yeah,
So
maybe
yeah,
so.
the my back was like against the wall of
Yeah,
all walls. So
yeah. It was
yeah,
desperation time.
talking about pressure, yeah. I mean, even as just a JV game, I was like, my mind wasn't thinking like, oh, it's just a JV game. Oh, you're just a freshman in college. This is excusable. No one's expecting you to be Peyton Manning out here. I was thinking, no, man, like that they're calling on me to go win the game.
Yeah, I
I don't
remember.
care if it's an intramural flag football game. I'm being called on to win the game. I want to go win the game. And if I fail to do so, I'm going to feel bad.
Yeah, I remember as you were walking off the field, and I caught up with you, and
Hmm.
threw my arm around your shoulder and told you I was proud of you because you had played fantastic when you were in there in your quarter to play, I
Mm,
was also very proud, and I pointed out at the time, hey, of all the quarterbacks, they picked you
mm,
and gave you the opportunity. They could have picked any of the other ones, but that said volumes that they picked you, and they
mm,
put you in an impossible situation. And you stood there, man. You took the hits and delivered the ball where it needed to go. And it's just, you know,
yeah.
I was feeling nothing but pride, and you were just dejected. And yeah, I kind of
Mm,
had that moment frozen in my head. So
mm,
anyway, yeah, we could keep adding different mental things, and maybe we will over time. But I'm on kind of a time crunch tonight, so
mm.
I want to jump into our second topic, where we usually let you talk about race cars for a little
Oh
bit.
boy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm. So after a little over a month of break, thanks to some things happening in the Middle East that ended in two races being canceled that were supposed to happen this past month. We're back. It is race week in Miami, of all places. And I mean, the race hasn't happened yet. There hasn't been a race to happen in like 5 weeks, so still not a whole lot of news. It might rain in Miami, which will be very interesting. Red Bull have supposedly shaved a few kilograms of weight off of their car. They were about 12 kilograms overweight, which obviously, the heavier your car is, the slower you're going to be. So, and now they're about half of that overweight.
Hmm.
So, just about 5 or 6 kilograms saved, which you don't think that that's like a big difference, but I mean that's a few tenths of a second every lap here and there. So, we'll see what happens. Of course, hopefully, a little over a month off. Max Verstappen has had time to kind of mentally refresh after the rough start to the season. He's bringing a special pink alternate helmet to Miami, which is kind of cool. Up, you back? Yep. I've been getting a lot of those. Thankfully, I haven't gotten any since we started here, so maybe that's the key. Um, But yeah, so it's also sprint weekend. It's gonna be our second sprint race of the season. Do you know what a sprint race is? That's actually not that far off. So yeah, as opposed to a full distance race, a sprint race is a third of the distance. There are no mandatory pit stops as well. It is essentially just a sprint for about 20 laps or so. Um, and yeah, it comes with its own special qualifying just for the sprint race itself. And yeah, it awards, instead of the typical 25 points for first, 18 for second, 15 for third, 12 for fourth, 10th for fifth, so on and so forth, down to 1 point for 10th place. It just awards eight points for first place, down to 1 point for eighth place. So sure. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hmm. My recording is still going. My recording hasn't stopped. So I guess I will only know if there's an issue when I go in and see the recording after the fact. But I mean, as far as I'm concerned, although it doesn't say that you're recording, so I'm wondering if I'm not getting your um voice. Um Hmm. Huh. Um well, then I guess this will be the end of the show once I'm done talking about F1 here. I mean, this is a segment that you're not even talking about either. Um, Anyway, yeah. So as it being a sprint weekend, there will only be one free practice session as opposed to the usual three before we get into qualifying in the main race. With of course the second practice session being taken up by sprint qualifying, and the third practice being taken up by the sprint race. However, I believe this is because one, they're testing some new like alterations to the regulations for the cars with the battery and such. Plus, just the fact that we've had 5 weeks off. They're extending that one practice session from 60 minutes to 90. So, and the last time that we had a 90-minute practice session, Max Verstappen won the race. So, hopefully good things will come all weekend this weekend. So it'll be good to be back on track. A lot of people are not excited for it just because it's been kind of a down year for Formula One with the new regulations that people aren't very fond of so far. But I'm excited to see racing again. But yeah, but technical difficulties aside, thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Inside the Helmet. We'll be back next week as always. Yeah, yep.